guys, it's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past few days, and boy oh boy, do we have some monumentally huge news to discuss. Firstly, the #1 summer transfer priority. He's back, baby. It is Nico Williams. He has taken the first step and told Barcelona, I want the move, and Barcelona have said, let's do it. We're going to discuss all the details, the storyline, the factors, absolutely everything. He's not the only winger that we are tracing. We are also looking at the youngster Cardoso Varela, currently playing at Dinamo Zagreb, Portuguese background. Deco's working on this with Andre Ibarra, who of course the agent of Joan Garcia. Dani Olmo. Don't forget, Joan Garcia's deal will be announced today. Presentation on Thursday. Of course, with Nico Williams started coming in, sales are needed. We have update on Ter Stegen, Ansu Fati, Iñaki Peña, Pablo Torre, Araujo, whoever it may be. All the sales right now on the table. We have an update on them because we do need some sales to free up some space in FFP. Also, some general news as well. Preseason now has been officially announced and confirmed by Barcelona. The summer 2025 Asia Tour. We'll discuss all that. And finally, a huge addition in regards to the backroom staff, the coaching staff. We're looking at the return of Thiago Alcantara. We saw his big impact last summer, and we want to bring him back now on a permanent basis. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below, and let's try and get to 200 likes on this video. It would be very much appreciated. And also, if you are new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past few days. And the first piece of news that we do have is in regards to Joan Garcia. His release clause has now been officially paid. The news has broke over the past few days, especially during the weekend, that the total fee of the release clause is going to be 26.4 million. You can see here on the screen as well where Espanyol had to publicly release the fact that Barcelona did execute Joan Garcia's release clause, as they're a public group, so they have to, just like Barcelona, announce what happens in and out, and they did confirm this. And after that, of course, La Liga will validate the execution of the release clause or that sort of thing, and in the end the validation was approved, and we are expecting a Joan Garcia official announcement by Football Club Barcelona today. At some point today, they will officially announce that he has signed as new goalkeeper, and his presentation will be this Thursday, not tomorrow, but the day after. So tune in. It's going to be a Joan Garcia ride over the next few days. Release clause has been fully paid. His salary will be 3 million euros net for a season, which is around about 60k per week. Not too shabby there as well. But again, release clause has been paid. A total fee of around 26.4 to 27 million euros paid fully by Barcelona, approved and validated by La Liga. His announcement will be today, and of course his presentation will be this Thursday. Now, the biggest news around Barcelona over the past few days, without a shadow of a doubt, has been the abundance and emphatic news about Nico Williams back on the agenda for Barcelona. The news broke on Friday, of course, with Joan Garcia's deal now being sealed and done. First signing of the summer done, of course, on Fridays when Barcelona officially activated his release clause. Took the weekend for La Liga to approve the validation and blah blah blah. Now it's down to what's next. That is a left winger, and the name that is now the #1 target is Nico Williams. The news broke from Carlos Monforte of Sport, who actually, of course, worked formerly with Gigantes, moved to Sport. 2 days later, got the big exclusive. Barcelona held a meeting with Nico Williams' agent, Felix Tainta, who was in Barcelona to meet with Deco. He has several strong offers, and Atleti also want to renew his contract. Both Arsenal and Bayern are interested, and both are willing to pay the reported 62 million euro release clause. If Nico were to leave, he would prefer to stay in La Liga and would come to Barcelona as long as the Barcelona is fully interested in formalizing the deal upon payment of the buyout clause and registering him without any problem. This was huge. He also said that Nico had a lot of friends in Barcelona's dressing room, as well as that's widely known. Plus, Deco and Flick has already assured him that they could register him in the market without any difficulties, not like last summer. And last time it ended up after ruling out the conflict, of course, with Athletic Club. Following this initial reports from Carlos Monforte, it all started to break. Not even 3 minutes after he released the article, Lamine Yamal dropped a picture of him and Nico Williams on his story, which tells you pretty much he's tapped in on social media, and he was thrilling about it. Then the floodgates, of course, opened up. Fernando Polo came out saying that in the meeting between Deco and Nico Williams' agent, it was made clear that Nico Williams is crazy about playing for Barcelona. This time around, he is willing to take the risk of signing with Barcelona despite the fair play and registration issues. So Nico here pretty much going all out. Victor Navarro came out saying the most important thing is that Nico has sent his agent to Barcelona to speak with Deco because he wants to and likes the idea of playing with Barcelona. His great teammates and friends are with the national team, Lamine, blah, blah, blah. This is the most important thing. Nico and his agent took the first step. We're already focusing in on twerking for Luis Díaz. Do not get this confused. Barcelona were not super keen on Nico. He is the one that initiated contact and told his agent to have a meeting with Barcelona. Ben Aid came out saying we'll see how this progresses, but I confirm that Barcelona hasn't ruled out Nico yet. Ben Jacobs saying that Nico Williams is open to reducing his salary demands to join Barcelona. Santi Ona of Foot Mercado came out saying that Nico is ready to accept Barcelona's offer from last summer, this summer, which is 12 million gross. Do not forget, he had a meeting with Bayern Munich 4 days ago demanding 20 million euro gross. He's come to Barcelona and said, I'll take your 12 from last summer. This is how badly I want to join. Of course, that's around 6 million net, around about 120,000 euros per week, which is pretty good for a new signing. That's exactly what, Koundé was earning, probably still is without his renewal. Rafinha, of course, that is less than the current salary of Ansu Fati as well. Joan Garcia then came out saying the meeting between Deco and Nico Williams' agent took place at the player's own request. The club wanted Nico Williams to take the first step this summer, and he did. Hansi Flick has already explained the project at Barcelona to Nico Williams through a phone call as well. So Nico sent his agent to speak with Deco. Meeting was happy. Flick and Nico Williams had a phone call. This all happened in the space of about 2 to 3 hours. Fran Martinez came out saying that Barcelona was still upset with Nico about last season. Diaz remains the target. Barcelona is working to get Liverpool to negotiate. However, Nico Williams' willingness has made sure he's no longer out of the running and is indeed now an alternative option. This here is Barcelona playing hard to get. When you had the hot girl in school, you make your move, she's like, oh, keep going, keep talking about me. I'm not really gonna date you, but just keep, gassing me up. When you keep gassing them up a bit more, they start to bend over. So this is what Barcelona is doing here. Oh, we still want Luis Díaz. He's still number one, but we appreciate you. But again, this is still all happening on Friday. For Benjamin, that's it on his YouTube. The agent Nico Williams had direct face-to-face meeting with Barcelona sporting director Deco. The understanding is that Nico Williams has opened the door to Barcelona's move. The message from the meeting today was very positive. The player is very convinced about the possibility of going to Barcelona, and he is very open. It all now depends on Barcelona. He is not the only option Barcelona have. Blah, blah, blah. Diaz, Rashford, whatever it may be. Now we have to wait and see what Barcelona decide to do. So he's basically saying there that, again, everything the reports initially are confirmed. Nico Williams initiated the conversation. There will be a story about, Lamine Yamal, about how the news broke, and he went on his Instagram story. Basically, he's saying that this has all been well structured and well planned from Nico Williams and the Barcelona, boys in the dressing room. Also, Ben Aid said that Barcelona had been becoming very internally aware of the first choice of most fans is Nico Williams. This is the key. The fans were also heavy pushers for Joan Garcia as well, and the club are aware that 90% of this fan base wants Nico Williams, and they think he is the best suitable, ideal option on the market. We're now heading into the weekend following all the craziness on Friday. Rochelero Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Nico Williams made it clear that before considering the Bundesliga or Premier League, he wants to go join Barcelona, which is seen as a good fit and a strong project. Luis Díaz, lifelong Barcelona fan. Rashford sitting there waiting for Barcelona. Perisic, good cheap option, would not be a main option, and Flick wouldn't mind it. That's kind of the left situation right now. Fernando Polo then came out saying that Luis Díaz is the highest priority target at Barcelona right now, and basically seeing what happens with Liverpool. Nico Williams has now emerged as an option now after last season's debacle. He has now offered himself without hesitation to Barcelona and is reportedly crazy about wearing the Barca shirt. Lamine was also quick to support Nico Williams. Now it's down to really assessing how we're going to pay the 62 million euro release clause. Again, the affordability of the 62 million release clause is not really the issue. Of course, you want to, if you can, pay in installments, whatever it may be, but since our relationship with Athletic Club is borderline not even existent at this point, you pretty much have to pay the full 62 upfront in cash, or else we cannot get Nico. You can say to them, oh, if we pay 65, will you take installments, which Barcelona would probably do, but to screw over Barcelona, Athletic Club will not be cooperating whatsoever. ever. Now getting to Sunday now, I thought the club has a fixed price of around 64 million euros for Nico Williams, including CPI, which was again the same thing for Joan Garcia. And we'll wait and see again what happens with Barcelona, and then a good case and all this stuff is going to be an issue. Regardless of the name being chosen, it's likely for the departures to happen first. Again, there's going to be no rush for this Nico Williams deal. The most important thing here is that Barcelona agreed to sign him. They reached an agreement on personal terms, and once we get our sales and stuff going through, we maybe can then go and activate the release clause. This is not going to happen over the next few weeks. I don't think this will happen in June, to be honest, but the fact that there is talks and there is progression and there is agreement is where the positivity does come in. Joan Garcia came out saying again, Luis Díaz remains a priority. However, the positive side from Nico is that this time he's taking the step forward, and he also mentioned something very interesting. He said that along with the other issues and other things that we discussed, there's apparently a concern in the club that Nico Williams' close friends with players in the Barca squad could recreate the Club de Amigos vibes some believe had previously affected Barcelona's disciplinary and focus. So there is internal doubt about that too. Now, when we talk about the previous Club de Amigos, talk about the greatest players in their position all in their prime, where this is a completely different case, and especially during that time as well, when they're in their prime, they're gonna have more control. Whereas these players, they're not coming in as the big heads in the dressing room. They're gonna be the little heads. You'll have your Araujos, you'll have your Pedris, you'll have your Gavis, you'll have your Luas, you'll have your Ter Stegens for now, your Rafas. Those are gonna be the Club de Amigos. You can't really create a Club de Amigos when you don't have that much power at the club. So this one is if it is a club just making maybe a little bit of an excuse. Then Sport came out saying that Nico Williams is aware that he isn't the first option for Barcelona right now, but he's willing to wait it out despite interest from other clubs. He's also willing to adapt in terms of which Barcelona's offers are. Clubs aware of this, and he has the last word. So now he's just doing everything that Barcelona love when a player works for them. We work for players that we have been with Luis Díaz over the past few months, but we love it when a player works for us. Look at the past examples, Rashford in January, Oba back in the day, Adama, Luke, whatever it may be, Konde, Rafa, Lewa. It's when a player works for us, 9 times out of 10, the deal does happen. Following day, Miranda came out again. Nico wants to go to Barcelona. He would be very 100% happy there. The ball now is in Barcelona's court. He's just rinsing, repeating information. Alex Pentel then came out saying that Luis Díaz is still the priority. Nico is a backup. Laporta is still disappointed with what Nico did last summer, so we'll wait and see if his perspective just changed. Again, it will be difficult to negotiate with Bilbao to either most likely pay the release clause or not. Then, yesterday is where everything took the turn for the best. The news broke from Plettigol, Sky Germany, so give him credit where it's due. He was the first to come out saying that Barcelona currently had the best chance in the race for Nico Williams. Important new negotiations have taken place over the past 24 hours. Joan Laporta is now assessing whether a transfer is feasible and if Nico can be registered. If Barcelona get the green light, both in that department, the move is expected to go ahead. Hansi Flick is determined to sign him. Bayern Munich have now been informed that Nico's decision and are now waiting to see if Barcelona can complete the transfer or not. And if they won't, they will then jump in and try to sign them. So he's saying now, number one priority, Laporta's on board. They're assessing everything that's happening. Following that report, Victor Novato from Cope came out saying that Nico has been talking to Barca players for the past week, telling them that he wants to come this summer, and he's asking for them for help to pressure the board. If last summer was crazy, this is going to be even more crazier. Right now, he was on vacation, so you have to wait and see. But the main pressure right now is on Laporta and Deco. And Laporta and Deco are still studying the feasibility of Nico Williams' operation, something which was not even considered a few days ago. So there is progression there. Diaz and Rashford occupied their focus till now, especially with Rashford being in the realm since early January. Then Fernando Polo, who's moving absolutely mad this summer, getting everything 100% correct as it unfolds. He's come out saying Nico Williams is gaining ground in the race to be chosen as Barcelona's left winger after the visit and message from his agent had a strong impact on Joan Laporta. Barcelona are exploring Nico's signing, and his 62 million euro release clause is simpler to execute than negotiate, of course, with Liverpool for Luis Díaz, who isn't even open to talks right now. So they're saying now, Barcelona, look, giving Bilbao 60 million upfront is easier and better than negotiating for 3 months for Luis Díaz to pay the same amount but in installments. The obstacle is now the payment method. Triggering Nico's release clause will require a full payment upfront, and Athletic Club won't allow installments, especially not from Barcelona. Raccoon then confirmed this as well, saying that Barcelona will try and sign Nico Williams now. Luis Díaz is no longer the sole front runner. Financial consideration will be the deciding factor that the club believes it has enough financial resources to pay Nico Williams' release clause. That is the huge bombazo. Then Santi Ona Foot Mercado came out saying that Nico Williams is now on the face of Barcelona's agenda. One thing's for certain, the Catalan club is actually working on the arrival. According to our information, the Blaugrana have planned a new meeting with the 22-year-old Spanish agent under contract with Athletic Club. Also, according to our sources, Barcelona wants to be very confident about the upcoming arrival of the player, who is more than ever determined to play for the Culé jersey next season. So a new meeting is expected. Mateo Morito confirmed this as well, saying that Barcelona have now made Nico Williams their number one target in the role again. Talks with his agent have been positive, with more expected soon. While Nico prioritizes joining Barcelona, the club must evaluate if the deal is financially possible. Fabrizio Romano said the exact same thing. And finally, Ferran Martinez from Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Joan Laporta may be excited by the proposal of signing Nico Williams. Once again, Nico offering himself to Barcelona may have changed the scenario completely. After last summer, the idea of pairing him up with Lamine Yamal has strong, reports in the squad. And this has made Joan Laporta explore the option, although with a bit of caution. Although some sources close to the club say they haven't, reportedly urged any caution, neither of Luis Díaz or Nico Williams' option is easy, so no sudden developments are expected. The summer transfer window is going to be a long period, as reported, maintained by club sources, just that Nico Williams has a fixed price rather than Díaz, as Liverpool do not want to negotiate. So again, this deal is not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen after tomorrow, but the fact now that officially Nico Williams is the number one target in the left wing position is absolutely huge. It's been Luis Díaz probably since Nico said no last summer until now, and now Nico has said yes, I'll do whatever you want. I want the move now. It is now coming to fruition. And of course, your boy Barca boy predicted this back in August. Take a look at this clip. Now, a player who Barcelona were chasing all summer long, didn't end up signing him, but will probably be back for him this coming summer, June 2025. It's your boy Nico Williams. And as I predicted, I told you guys back in the beginning of July, if we don't sign Nico Williams this summer, best believe we will twerk for him again next summer. This for me screams Antoine Griezmann. When we begged him to join, he said no, did his whole entire documentary. Next summer, he twerked for us, we paid a release clause, and he joined. I think the Nico Williams situation and, scenario is very similar to that of Antoine Griezmann back in 2019-2020. Now, never doubt the Barca boy ball knowledge. I told you guys this last summer. It's going to be an Antoine Griezmann 2.0. They said no, then they're going to come and twerk and do whatever we can. And like I told you guys, Barcelona love when a player, of course, especially high quality as well, twerks for them. And also don't forget the fact as well that this is a sign that basically all the fans want. I guarantee you 99% of the people watching this video want Nico Williams. It's very, very quite evident, and this will be a monumental signing. This has been the signing that I've been twerking for years now as well. And I know that he rejected us last summer, but when the signing is too good and too perfect at the scale that it is right now, I mean, he's younger than Luis Díaz. He's more of a width player, knows the league, knows everybody in the squad, same price. Like, he'll be cheaper wages for sure. It just screams you have to do it. Just like I said in that clip there. So very, very excited about this, that Nico has now taken the first step forward, and we'll wait and see how things develop over the next few weeks. So right now the priority is Joan Garcia announcement presentation on Thursday. We'll wait and see what Joan Laporta and Deco say in that press conference. I guarantee you they'll be asked questions about Nico Williams. Like, this Nico Williams signing is quite huge. This is probably the biggest sign we've made. I'd probably say since Lewandowski in terms of numbers and stuff, because everybody wants Nico Williams. Just now down to the club now to see if we can execute it. Again, the salary and personal terms should not be an issue. It really comes down to Barcelona paying that release clause to Bilbao. Did they pay it in full? Did they have enough? I do expect Barcelona to have some sale first. Ansu Fati maybe going, and Iñaki Peña. Of course, Clement Lenglet's exit will be absolutely huge. Maybe a couple loan deals as well for other players like Astralaga and stuff like that. Ter Stegen will be huge. I think the departure of Ter Stegen and Ansu Fati will be monumental for this deal to happen. But I am so gassed that we are now back in for Nico. He is now the number one target for Barcelona, and this will be a monumental signing. Now, there is another winger that Barcelona are tracking, not for this summer, but more so for the future, and that is the youngster Cardoso Varela. This, again, broke from Carlos Monfort from Sport. He has been on fire this summer. Him and Fernando Polo have been on an absolute mad one. He's come out and say that it was, of course, a meeting with Cardoso, and his agent, of course, is Andre Barra, who is the same agent as Denis Olmo, and also as well our new signing, Joan Garcia. They had a meeting in Barcelona a few days ago to talk about this deal. Again, Barcelona tracking this youngster very highly. He's really highly rated as well. Currently playing at Dinamo Zagreb in Croatia. He's of course has a Portuguese background. I think he's on loan or something from Porto. That deal was made official a few days ago. I think he signed a new long-term deal with Dynamo until 2030. But again, Barcelona are still active in this pursuit. They want to get this deal done for next year. They're looking to pay around 5 million as a fee, then 20 million add-on. So very similar structure to what we did with Pablo Torre a few years ago with Racing Santander. And again, Dynamo are aware of this interest. They're open to the deal despite him, renewing his contract. And this is a play that Barcelona have been tracking quite well. And also Porto in the background, not to have about how Barcelona have approached this or whatever, but no big deal in my opinion. And again, the Varela operation, which would involve loaning him back to Dinamo Zagreb for 1 year, after which he would then join Barcelona permanently. The club likes the player, but there's still a long way to go before any deal is finalized. The final decision, of course, lies in the hands of Barcelona. So again, it's going to be more so to lock down the player for his future, then send him out for development, then maybe reinvest him back into the first team. So we'll wait and see how things do turn out with Cardoso Varela, but definitely a player that Barcelona are tracking for the long term. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to be leaving Barcelona over the past few days, with us needing some FFP room for Nico Williams. Right now, the main objective, I would say, until June 30th is exits. First one of Ansu Fati is a good personal terms with Monaco about 5 years ago. This deal is still being stalled mainly due to his salary, but now it's looking like there's going to be a bit of bright light. Ferran Martinez from Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona and Monaco have reportedly reassumed negotiations for Ansu Fati in the recent few days. Barcelona want Monaco to cover 80% of his salary, but Monaco don't want to pay more than 30. Man, oh my god. We're going to be sending Ansu Fati on loan and still paying at least 100,000 euros in wages. That is crazy to me. I said in my last video, you have to pay I would say minimum 60%, and then you want to crack over 30, which is half that. Anyways, both clubs know the situation needs to be resolved quickly for a mutual benefit. People close to Ansu acknowledge next week is going to be decisive. Of course, the meeting this week. The agreement over Ansu still has many loose ends needing fixing. Barcelona has finally agreed to negotiate a 1-year loan with a mandatory buyout clause. Monaco insists now for it to be mandatory, just to be for it to be an option, which is now being accepted by all parties involved. A figure near around 15 million euros has been reportedly discussed for the buyout clause, although it's not finalized yet. And to avail, tax benefits there, Ansu needs to prove that he has resided in Monaco for at least 183 days in the year, which ultimately points out to him preferably moving there some point this month. So in order for Ansu to avoid paying taxes in France, he needs to be living there for at least 183 days, which means he needs to get this move done by the end of June, which of course is a positive, especially from Barcelona's perspective. And now the main difference lies on the fact of Ansu's salary coverage. Barcelona initially hoped that Monaco would cover his entire salary, although now it seems an adequate split is likely. Monaco does not want to cover more than 40% of his salary, which would offer, of course, Barcelona to pay 60%. This detail is now being negotiated. Hopefully, we can squeeze at least a 50-50, especially if there's going to be a mandatory buyout option. I wouldn't mind that. But paying like less than 50, more than 50 for me is crazy. Is absolutely blasphemy in my opinion. Finally, Fabrizio Romano came out saying the expectation is for Ansu Fati to part with Barcelona in the next few days. The deal is a bit complicated as a lot of details are being involved: loan fee, salary coverage, buy option, mandatory, whatever it may be. But there is a general agreement overall that this deal will get done. Again, Monaco have agreed personal terms with Ansu Fati. It will take some time, but the expectation among all parties is that this deal will be agreed upon. So now we just have to wait here and see what Barcelona agree upon. Again, we know that there's going to be, a bit of a sticky wicket in terms of negotiation. Will be actually the salary coverage? Will the buy option be mandatory or not? What will actually be the buy option? I've seen 12 million, I've seen 10, I've seen 15. So, in my opinion, if the buy option is the loan, option, if it's mandatory, they have to buy no matter what. I would cover 50%, maybe even I would cover 60%, but if it's an optional, they have to cover, I think, over 70%, that's for sure. And I'm happy to make it optional as well, maybe for Monaco's objectives. If they get, Champions League spots, they have to buy him or something like that. I would definitely buckle for that and hope that they do the best. Of course, I'm trying to get Paul Pogba as well, Paul Labille and Ansu Fati in the same team. I feel like I'm back in 2020 all of a sudden, but we'll wait and see. Again, the expectations that this deal will go through is just now down for the two teams to negotiate and what the final resolution will be. Now, with Barcelona signing Joan Garcia and renewing the contract of Wojciech Szczesny, there are going to be quite a few goalkeeper departures coming up soon. Firstly is definitely Iñaki Peña. Sport have come out saying that Iñaki Peña's contract runs out in 2026 and he's not in Flick's plan. Thus, he would likely leave the club this summer. Celta have shown the most interest in him as of now. Galatasaray are also interested, although Iñaki Peña prefers to stay in Spain. Of course, that loan deal to Galatasaray. I will say this. I hope that Galatasaray do sign one of our goalkeepers. We'll talk about who the other one will be in just a few seconds. But for Iñaki, I think at this point we're probably looking at like a free departure. He is quite on high wages for being a second/third choice goalkeeper. I think he earns like probably more than Joan Garcia. Joan Garcia is coming in on 60K per week. I think he earns around the same, if not a bit more, if I remember correctly. I think he's on like 55 to like 70, something like that. So quite a ways away, and he needs to go. I think surplus of requirements, so he's definitely going to have to leave. But the other goalkeeper that could potentially go to Galatasaray is Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Now, according to reports in Turkey, Galatasaray have now shifted their focus to ter Stegen for their new goalkeeper. Other one, it doesn't really seem viable at the moment. Ben Aid came out saying though that until now there's no agreement between ter Stegen and any club. There were some rumors in Turkey saying that ter Stegen did reach an agreement on personal terms, which is not the case. Ter Stegen right now is on vacation, chilling life, and absolutely shitting himself to go back to Barcelona and face Deco and Flick. Santi Ona came out saying that this ideal scenario at Barcelona is that for ter Stegen will leave. His salary is very high, and his departure would greatly help in terms of registration for Joan Garcia, Nico Williams, whoever it may be. But he has no intention of leaving, so they know it will be complicated. Fermin Lopez also came out saying that ter Stegen indeed is planning to stay and compete for the goalkeeper position. Those closest to him deny any talks with Galatasaray or any other club for that matter, and they insist he will stay. He's looking forward to competing with Joan Garcia and feels strong after overcoming a serious injury. This is the stage of grief, you know? Firstly, you go denial, then you just, lock in. Once ter Stegen comes back, he talks to Flick and Deco. He sees us announce Joan Garcia. He sees all the Barca fans twerking for him. They announce the renewal of Szczesny. There's no way he's staying. It's a World Cup year. Finally, Neuer has retired, so he can actually play for the German national team. He will leave. If he has any ounce of balls, any ounce of courage, he will leave. If he wants to stay and be the third choice goalkeeper, collect his bag, not go to the World Cup, that's on him. That will definitely hinder his legacy at Barcelona. I don't think he's like that. He just needs that reality check. So once he comes back from his vacation, talks to Flick and Deco, like, yeah, you're cucked. You want to stay as third choice and earn your money, sure, but Tech and Joan Garcia are ahead of you. He'll see Joan Garcia being presented. Hopefully they give him his number. That would be absolutely hilarious. Just to really put the dagger in the heart for ter Stegen. But I'm not going to say 100%. I'm fairly confident that ter Stegen will leave. I don't know how he'll leave though. Stale, free, forgive his salary, we pay out his whole contract. I don't know how he'll leave, but I'm very confident that he will end up leaving at some point. Again, he wants to play in the World Cup for his country. This is your moment. You're done at Barca. We've clearly, gave you indications, but we signed the best goalkeeper in La Liga last season. What more do you need? We're not signing some scrub, for a, third choice option to replace Iñaki Peña. Oh, no, sorry. We bought the best one in La Liga. We twerked for him. We begged him to come. He came from a direct rival. We promised him the number one spot. All these should be signals, but ter Stegen's, bit of a drama king. He probably wants to hear that from Flick and Deco himself, not from the media, which, again, I do understand. But give this about 2 weeks, ter Stegen will leave. A lot of reports are saying that, he wants to stay. Especially Nico Williams from Kobe. She's twerking about ter Stegen, saying, I don't know what the fuck is her deal. But he will leave. Again, once he gets the reality check, he's right now in the denial phase. He's not going to stay as a third choice goalkeeper. There's no way. If he wants to, crack on. He won't really bother us too much. It'll just be, hindering our FFP, which is going to be a bit annoying. We could just unregister him, I guess, and then just still pay him. But we'll wait and see. It's a complicated situation, but one that will definitely leave with him leaving in some sort of capacity. And the final goalkeeper that's going to be leaving the club this summer, you're probably thinking Iñaki Peña, ter Stegen, that's it. Still one more. Astralaga. Gabriel Sanchez Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona decided to loan out Andre Astralaga next season. The club plans to keep a close eye on him and will monitor his performances. Whether he goes to a La Liga club or the Segunda Division, we'll wait and see on that. But a loan move is expected for Astralaga this summer, and we'll wait and see where his future lies. Now, the other player that's expected to leave Barcelona this summer is Pau Victor. Sport have come out saying that Pau Victor is aware that his contract goes until 2028 and he must go out in search of playing time. Girona would be one of the possible options for him. However, Barcelona does not want to lose control over him, so a loan or a transfer with a buyback is likely, although nothing decided as of now. So we plan to move on Pau Victor, but retaining part of his future, percent of a future sale, buyback option, maybe just straight loan him as well. I don't think there'll be a direct sale with nothing being included for Barcelona. So we'll wait and see on the details and the conditions. Again, if he can leave before the end of this month, that'd be great, but he probably won't, if we're being honest. Based on his interviews after the Catalonia national team's game when they play at the Johan Cruyff Stadium, quite clearly he's open to it, even though he's a big Barca fan. But maybe he'll know that if we do let him go with the buyback option, that he can always come back one day. But I think hopefully he won't make it too difficult for Barcelona. So we'll wait and see how things do turn out with Pau Victor, but an exit is very likely. Now, a player's future that does have a bit of a complication to it. There's actually two. First player up is Pablo Torre. Gabriel Sanz of Deportivo came out saying that Pablo Torre is open to renewing his contract, but isn't keen on a loan, as clubs often prioritize their own players. A sale with a low buyback clause is an alternative, but he prefers to earn a coach's trust before deciding. Flick values his technique and tactical quality and has told the board he's pleased with Torre's professionalism and attitude. Talks will begin soon, but right now he's fully focused on the under 21 Euros. His future may remain unsolved going into preseason. Barcelona does not want to lose him and does not want to, sever ties with Barcelona's environment either. So they both are very much in agreement. They want to have some sort of continuation together, whether it be a loan, a sale with a buy option. I think again, poor guy in this team right now, he's cooked. He was already cooked last season, and now we have Mark Burnell coming back in. He's beyond cooked. Unless we have, God forbid, huge injuries, not gonna be the case. And now with if he's trying to left winger and then Rafinha drops in the midfield, he's even more cooked than he was before. So some sort of departure for Torre is expected. I do think it's very likely as well. It just mattered about the how. Whether it be a loan to a team, we sell him with a buyback option, we sell him completely. He's open to at least renewing his contract for another year to give Barcelona some cushion to go out on loan again, which is a positive thing. But nothing will be decided until Spain's campaign with the under 21 Euros will end. But definitely want to watch out for in a complicated situation this summer. Another future that is a bit up in the air is the future of Ronald Araujo, with Ben Aid coming out saying that if Barcelona receive a good offer for Araujo, they will consider it, and his future at the club is not quite certain yet, especially with that low 65 million euro release clause in the first 10 days of July. Now, following this report, Araujo did post on his Instagram story of him pointing down when he celebrated his goal against Atlanta, and he had hearts and stuff. People were like, oh, this is a response to this. Barcelona have been posting pictures about him recently because he's been doing some media work for them. He did a would you rather and stuff like that, so they posted pictures of him and Rafa and all this stuff. So that just could be that. I wouldn't read too much into it. And again, with Araujo, we already heard from Flick a few weeks ago, he wants him to stay. So unless a big offer comes in, somebody activates his release clause, he's not going anywhere. And to be honest, if it's a club dumb enough in this world to go and get, Araujo for 65 million, then by all means we'll take it. And I would definitely let Araujo go if his release clause is activated, but I don't think anyone will. Especially in that 10-day period, where probably a lot of the focus of the top clubs will be on the Club World Cup if they're still in it. If you look at all the top clubs in the world, which one really needs a center back? Of course, you have to not only activate the release clause, but also convince Araujo. I can see maybe a team like Manchester United, maybe, who have the money and maybe need a center back, but can you convince Araujo to leave Barcelona? Remember, Ter Stegen, whether he leaves or not, Araujo will be the first team captain next season. That is mind-boggling to me, that a player that's been so crap in key moments for us is going to be walking into next season as our captain. Does he have leadership qualities? Sure. Definitely what I've seen, but just the actual ability isn't really as optimal captain material as you do expect. At least Ter Stegen's had some moments here and there where Araujo, and of course it's a longer time where Araujo has it, but he's going to go into next season as a first team captain. So I don't think he'll leave regardless of anyone activates his release clause or not, especially if Flick told him yes, I want you to stay. I think he can definitely become starter with a bit of training and stuff like that. So we'll wait and see. With Araujo, barring someone offering a fat deal, he's gonna stay, but if that fat offer comes in, Barcelona will definitely consider it. Now, there was a deal over the past few days in which Barcelona did receive some commission on, and that is Elijah Moriba's move from RB Leipzig to Celta Vigo on a permanent basis. Celta Vigo did activate their option to buy him from his loan for 6 million, and since Barcelona do have a 10% sell-on clause, we received 600,000 euros. So some money coming in, which is nice. Of course, this sale of Moriba, but we sold him from Barca, of course, to Leipzig for 15. Absolute Joan Laporta masterclass. We've now made about let's say 16 million euros from Moriba's sale. For a player who had a lot of potential but let money get to his head and then absolutely flopped, we will absolutely take that. Joan Laporta, masterclass of the highest level, but 600k coming in from Barcelona recently due to Moriba Sale to Celta Vigo on a permanent basis with a 10% sell-on clause being included. Now, in regards to players staying at Barcelona, there has been an attempt to sign one of our players recently, and that is Bayern Munich on Fermin Lopez. Ben Jacobs came out saying that Fermin Lopez has apparently received an approach from Bayern Munich, but however, the player has rejected it as he does want to stay in Barcelona. Some of the Catalonia media also picked up on this afterwards, but Ben Jacobs was the first to note it. So Bayern Munich there showing some interest in Fermin Lopez, but he rejected it because he wants, of course, stay and succeed at Barcelona. I do really rate Fermin Lopez very, very highly. I think he can definitely be a player and a half. He's just been growing and growing. He went from 11 goals, 11 GA, let's say, in his first season. I think last season he had 8 and 6. What's that, 14 GA, especially from, a substitute role, not being the starter week in, week out, but, 15 GA off the bench. Absolutely fantastic in his goals, of course, and assists were in big moments. Clasico, Espanyol to win the league, whatever it may be. Very, very tidy and a very, very unique player as well, which I hope that we do keep. Again, if a fat offer comes in, we'll analyze it. 80 million, 90 million, okay, I'll take, 80, 90 from in. But, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, I would definitely reject. So we'll wait and see what happens. But again, Bayern Munich have, tried to approach Fermin, but he had rejected it. Another player that's going to be staying at Barcelona this summer is Pablo Gavi. Might become a captain with Ter Stegen potentially leaving. Ferran Cardoso Sport came out saying that Gavi is fully recovered from his serious knee injury that kept him out for much of last season. During his recovery, he remained focused and worked hard to stay connected with the team. Now he's more motivated than ever to return to the pitch and prove himself. Gavi wants to be a key player for Barcelona in the upcoming season, not just by playing regularly, but taking more responsibility and becoming a leader in the squad. Again, that captain armband. His goal is to come back stronger and contribute to the team's success, both emotionally and physically. In his report as well, Ferran Cardoso mentioned that Hansi Flick does have full faith in Gavi. And like I mentioned in my video the other day with Dan Hilton from the Barcelona podcast, if you haven't seen that already, make sure you check that out, the last video on the channel. I said that I think that next season, the big surprise will be Gavi. I think he will have a huge season. The unique talent of this player, his movement, reading of the game, his tenacity, his energy, is again a player that I believe that any club in the world would take. Whether you're Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, United, City, PSG, I think every single team in the world would take Gavi in a heartbeat. That is how unique and that is how strong he is on the pitch, and I think he will become a huge asset for Barcelona next season. Of course, hindered a little bit this season with his ACL coming back from that huge injury, but now it's going to be a full throttle Gavi, and I cannot wait to see it. Let's discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. Firstly, the preseason schedule for 2025 has been now officially announced and confirmed by Barcelona, and it is as follows. July 13th, the team will return for their medicals. The first training session will be on July 14th. First friendly, first preseason game. The first game which Barcelona will be back for will be in the Asia Tour, friendly against Vissel Kobe, and on the 31st friendly against FC Seoul. Then on August 4th, a friendly against Deco FC, and then August 10th will be the Joan Garcia. I do expect a behind closed door friendly game between the 14th and the 27th. Watch out for that. That definitely happens every single year. It'll be against some third division team or some second division team for all the French players. Now, you can see the friendly, of course, in Casablanca in Monaco. That was not going to happen. We, of course, were waiting for Flick and Deco to approve it, and they didn't. Of course, by the way, Barcelona announced it officially, the preseason tour in Asia, Vissel Kobe, Seoul, and Daegu, all happening in Japan and South Korea, respectively. Moriba then came out saying the preseason friendly against in Casablanca has been cancelled due to Hansi Flick and Deco feeling the team would be too fatigued from their 2-week Asia tour, with 3 games on the return on the 5th to play against Casablanca on the 7th, and then, of course, Joan Garcia on the 10th was going to be too much, especially ahead of the La Liga season starting. So only on paper, technically, 4 preseason games. You have, of course, a 3 in Asia, then, of course, the 1 Joan Garcia. FC Como, still the huge favorite. La Vanguardia have come out saying the Joan Garcia trophy is going to be playing on scheduled on the weekend on the 9th and the 10th. Most likely, they will face the Italian side. Como, managed by Sex Fabrica. The match is expected to happen in the presence of 25,000 fans in the Camp Nou. There's actually a countdown right now outside the Camp Nou of when we're going to return there. I think it's set at 45 days, which of course brings it to August 1st. So hopefully we can get that cracking ASAP. But again, preseason now is all set and confirmed. You have the 3 games in Asia, then the Joan Garcia, so only 4 preseason games officially. I do expect again a behind closed door friendly between the 14th and the 27th at some point. No friendly in Monaco and Casablanca that has been cancelled, not been approved by the Barcelona management and manager on the pitch as well. And now it's just down to waiting for the moment to come and to watch this team come back. Now, one of the big surprises and big impact on our last preseason in 2024 was, of course, the incorporation in the coaching staff of Thiago Alcantara. Again, since his, 2-month contract as a coach, and he left due to, tax issues in England. He never came back. We thought he might come back in January. Never happened. And now we're looking like to try and bring him back in again. Fran Martinez came out saying that Hansi Flick is looking to bring Thiago Alcantara back to be part of his coaching staff during his vacation. Flick invited Thiago to join him in the team, signaling a strong interest in working together again. Apparently, he had some sort of party for all the coaching staff, and he invited Thiago to that. Thiago remains open to the role at Barcelona, while his involvement early this year has been brief due to tax-related issues. Discussions are now underway to define a more permanent role for him in Flick's coaching staff, and have Miguel confirmed this as well. Flick and Thiago have discussed on his potential addition in the squad for next season. It is expected that in the coming weeks, Thiago's return to the squad will be finalized, both in terms of when he rejoins the squad and also his job responsibility. Flick considers his presence essential for tactical modifications and an evolution needed for the next season to once again take opponents by surprise. Barca's doors are completely open for him, and the club recognizes his immense potential. When Thiago returned back to England for tax orientation reasons, he was replaced by Arnau Blanco, and despite this, Flick kept close contact with Thiago. So far, they've been sent him some tactical reports and analysis of Barcelona's side throughout the season. Flick even invited him to the last week coaching party along with the rest of the staff and management. Thiago happily accepted the proposal, spending his time with Flick during the trip while they potentially discuss his comeback. So it's on the table again. Let's hope we can get this done again before the 13th. That'd be very, very nice. It shouldn't be too complicated to add someone to the coaching staff, but someone again who can speak so many languages, knows the Barcelona club and style inside and out, can speak so many languages as well, so can work as an interpreter as well if needs be, if Flick doesn't already know how to talk with the team a year later. But definitely, I think a huge incorporation to have him for a full season in the dugout, on the bench, I think will be a massive, massive addition to the team. Let's hope we can get this done. We'll wait and see what happens over the next few weeks. So hopefully have him in time for preseason. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss for an end off this video is what Joan Laporta has been doing behind the scenes recently and how he has saved this club from bankruptcy to now being a net positive club and also a healthy club as well. Now, Roger from Deportivo came out discussing what Laporta wants to incorporate in terms of FFP in the future, and that's of course removing everything externally from the first team, saying that after multiple tries and requests, Barcelona has made La Liga accept its request to study its proposal plan to separate the women's team and the youth division from its FFP space, which will help Barcelona's economic aspect massively, although it's not expected to be applied immediately for next season. Despite that, Barcelona is optimistic for the return to the Spotify Camp Nou. So again, they're looking, FFP includes everything, right? Financial fair play, it's your whole entire wage bill, what you pay. So that will include the women's team, that will include the under-ranked teams as well, Barca Athletic. So he wants to kind of remove all that and just have the first team, which is what his request to La Liga. Also, here's a detailed highlight Laporta and his board have worked upon. Before the pandemic, the wage bill was 74% of the income. The first campaign after the pandemic, the wage bill was at 98% of the club's income, which is fucking mental to think about. But however, for this upcoming season, the wage bill is now 57% of the club's income, which is 510 million of the 893 million euros earned. I think the sweet spot is like 59%, something like that. And I think he wants to bring that down to about 50, which is absolutely remarkable. We also have to update around the club's financial standpoint, that the club released an official statement saying that Morningstar DBRS, a leading independent and one of the only 4 recognized credit rating agencies as an external credit assessment institution by the European Central Bank, has certified Barcelona's credit rating from stable to positive. This confirms Barcelona's economic recovery. In their statement, they said that Barcelona's just doing really well in terms of money. So again, when he came in on the verge of bankruptcy, and now we are confirmed in a positive credit state movement, which of course is fantastic, and it's only up from here, by the way, especially with the Camp Nou opening up this season. La Vanguardia came out saying that the pitch at the Camp Nou will not be covered by gravel. The final turf will be re-implanted by the end of July by Gardentona. By the time the new turf is laid out, Barcelona will have announced its plan to return with a limited strength of 63,000 capacity stadium, which is still remarkable. Regarding the prices of the partial return period, the VP and the Ford announced that it will be, of course, similar tickets to the last season at the Camp Nou, for those who are wondering about the ticket prices. So Laporta has worked absolute magic at this club, and like I said, it's only up from here, and this upcoming season is gonna be absolutely huge. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past few days. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well, let me know your thoughts on everything we did discuss. Main thing I want to know firstly, of course, is Nico Williams. Are you gassed? Are you happy? Are you excited? And do you think we can get this deal done before the start of preseason? Second, your thoughts on the Cardoso Varela deal as well. Thirdly, on sales, and those sales will be complicated, whether it be Iñaki Peña, Pau Victor, Ter Stegen, Ansu Fati. And finally, your thoughts on the return of Thiago Alcantara to the coaching staff. I think you'll have a big impact from behind the scenes on this team next season. And of course, do not forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.